everybody's attention, please. Get everybody to take their places. We have a very full and robust agenda for the night. It's made up of very intricate parts, but most important, it's made up of all of us. So I want to welcome you, call our City Council meeting, Board of Mayor and Aldermen in order for our December 13, 2022 board meeting. The first thing we have an invocation, may we bow, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you, humble as we know how this evening. Thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and your amazing grace. We ask your blessings upon this community. We say thank you for all that you're doing and all that you're going to do. May you bring us together in a sense of unity. Remember that your son is the reason for the season. As we bring ourselves together around mental health, around music, around planning, around public safety. May we keep you front and center in everything we do, say, be pleasing unto you. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Amen. May we stand for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all again for coming and participating. We'll be moving through tonight's agenda. We do have several resolutions, several ordinances that require public hearings, so we'll be, at that time, everybody have opportunity to speak when we close our session, go into our public hearings. The first thing of order of business tonight is approval of the minutes from our November 8th meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask all of them if they have any questions, concerns about the minutes from the November 8th meeting 2022. Hearing none, I'd like to call for a motion to approve. So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and proper second. Any questions, corrections, or concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, minutes approved. Well, tonight we have some very special guests with us. I'm super excited, as well as you should be too, that the opportunity we have Ms. Pam Lewis, the CEO of PLA Media out of Nashville, who's helped us out tremendously, promoting our music and our history and our heritage, and Daniel from England from the Tough Foundation. So we'll just tell you a little bit about this special presentation that we have, a very unique opportunity this evening. And thank you, Sonia, for help putting this together.
So Paul McCartney was quoted as saying, if there were no Carl Perkins, there would be no Beatles. John Lennon once said that he listened to Sleepy John Estes in art class every day. The Beatles went on to cover at least 10 Carl Perkins songs in their shows, and they officially recorded 6 of those, and many of you probably remember that George Harrison came here in 1998 to Carl's funeral. So there have also been lots of contemporary West Tennessee artists who have credited the Beatles for influencing their music, one being Valerie June, who is just a few counties over in Humboldt. So I'm very excited tonight to tell you about a special opportunity that we have here in Brownsville and in Haywood County, and that will help us to celebrate the Beatles, their legacy, but also to shine some light on our artists from West Tennessee who influenced the Beatles and those who have been influenced by the Beatles. So I am going to ask Pam Lewis, who is the CEO of PLA Media in Nashville, and Daniel Zander, who is a Tough trustee and the Foundation's music director, and Tough stands for the Unity of Faith Foundation, which is a British charity that works on 4 continents. But I'll let them tell you more about their mission and why we're here tonight.
I love your town, and the bigger that Nashville gets and the bigger that Franklin gets, the more that I love Brownsville. I just love coming down here. We were involved with the opening of your wonderful Tina Turner Museum, and Sonia and I got to know each other, and she said, I found this beautiful school, I'm going to move it, I'm raising money, and I said, here's a check, let me help you. And so then I stopped back by, and I said, how's that project going? She said, we're getting there, let me show you. And I said, Sonia, you're going to need help, this is a big deal. And she said, do you think so? I said, I know so, let us help you. So I've sort of adopted Brownsville. I love your town, and we're just thrilled to death to be here. This is the Unity of Faith. So I'm basically passing a baton from John Cooper's office, who is our mayor in Nashville, to y'all, to Mayor Rawls, and to the City Council. This is going to be our very first museum exhibit. This mic was at the Cavern Club, and the Cavern Club is where the Beatles and many other artists played, and Daniel will talk a little bit more about that. But I wanted to read something from our founder, co-founder, Dr. Shemender Talwar, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. He's in London. He is a clinical psychologist, and the Unity of Faith is all about social cohesion and mental health. And a lot of the programs that they do are sports programs and music programs, helping at-risk kids and their families. So I'm just going to read quickly from Dr. Talwar, and he came with me and we visited with Sonia a few months ago, and he was like, I love this town, and he was just soaking it all in. He got to see cotton growing for the first time, as did Daniel today. So thank you, Sonia Outlaw Clark, and the City of Brownsville for welcoming the Unity of Faith Foundation and the Mic of Unity to West Tennessee for our very first museum exhibit. Your area has produced so much important music, which was then imported to the rest of the world, including my birthplace, Liverpool, influencing the four lads from Liverpool, the Beatles, and ultimately launching the British invasion and changing the world. I wish I could be here today. I'm sorry I can't be here, but rest assured I will be back. So this Mic of Unity will be at the Delta Heritage Museum, and Sonia just said, how long can we keep it? So I think it's going to be here at least through May, and for your Blues Festival. I want to bring Daniel Zander up, and Daniel is our music director. He's also a trustee with the Unity of Faith Foundation. He's here from Liverpool, and he's getting ready to go back for Christmas, and he said, we've got to go here before it goes back to England. So Daniel, come on up.
Hi there, yeah, my name's Daniel Zander. I'm a record producer from Liverpool. I'm also a trustee of the charity TUF, the Unity of Faith Foundation. And through the pandemic we noticed that a lot of the creative community in terms of musicians, artists and songwriters were really suffering with their mental health. And that was through lockdowns and the effects of the pandemic. So we thought, well, what can we do as a charity? What can we do? What type of project can we design to try and not just unify people, but to try and heal the wounds of the pandemic and heal the wounds that people had suffered in terms of their mental health as well. So the idea we came up with was to devise a song contest, the Liverpool International Song Contest, which we ran in 2020 as season 1. And then we decided that for season 2 we wanted to try and spread this message further afield. So that's where we started working with Pam Lewis and PLA Media, and we decided we wanted to take this, as the song contest in its originality was inspired by John Lennon and his song Imagine. We thought, where else to take it but back to America. So that's essentially what we did, and the Road to Nashville season 2 was born. So here we are with this Mic of Unity, which is a microphone that was actually from the Cavern Club. It was used to record in sort of a very minimal way, but really for the live performances of many of the Beatles performances. I think they performed there for about 300 performances or shows. And yeah, so we wanted to bring this over to Brownsville and to showcase it here, because for season 3, the Road to Nashville is going to become the Road to Tennessee. And as Sonia outlined, a lot of the culture in the UK, a lot of the inspiration for the music really came from this part of the world. I think, as you quite rightly said, Paul McCartney was on record talking about Carl Perkins and how it really sort of inspired him and the Beatles. So yeah, the Mic of Unity is here. It's going to be here, I believe, until the Blues Festival. I think, is that right?
The end of May.
Yeah, around the end of May. So yeah, we'd like to invite people to come and see this particular piece and to really become involved with this message of unity and promote an idea that music, which is defined as the expression of emotion, really can bring people together in this part of the world, but also connect or reconnect this part of the world with Liverpool once again through this message of unity and healing. So yeah, I'd just like to say I'm absolutely honoured to bring this here, and thank you for your hospitality, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing this to it's so fitting when our lines for Reverend Abrahart is that we can't have a community without unity. So we accept the mic of unity in good faith, in the name of music, in the name of mental health, in the name of music that soothes the soul. It's food for the soul. So we thank you from all the way from Liverpool to Brownsville, Tennessee. Thank you for your gift, your love. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have an update from our CEO of HTL, Mr. Mark Herberson. HTL is made up of a consortium of Haywood, Tipton, and Lauderdale counties, along with the city of Brownsville, the city of Covington, and Ripley, Tennessee. Mark, of course, is instrumental in our industrial recruitment and business retaining and workforce. So, thank y'all again. Safe travels. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. God bless.
Thank you, Mayor, so much. I appreciate the honor to be here tonight. I'm here to give an update on stuff that's going on at HTL Advantage. We're halfway through the fiscal year this year. We've made tremendous progress in a bunch of different areas.
Hit the button.
Hit it, sorry.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So we have made tremendous progress over the last 6 months in several different goals that we had for the year. I'm going to start out talking about some of the things that we have completed and gotten updated. We've completed our quality of life brochures and catalogs on Brownsville and Haywood County and Stanton. We've also created all new workforce executive summaries. We're really looking at a new approach to workforce promotion, and that's looking at drive times. And so we've redone all of our information. We've got a great new website that also houses all this information. We are getting ready in January to launch a national digital marketing campaign. So you're going to be seeing, we're going to target about 500 or 600 site consultants around the country, and we're going to target a number of industries in our targeted sectors. And what you're going to be seeing is, you know, these people and our constituents here in West Tennessee, when you're on Facebook or Google or a website like that, you'll see HTL ads coming up that will drive you back to our website. And then on the streaming services like Hulu and YouTube TV, there will be 15 and 30-second video ads about Haywood, Tipton, and Lauderdale County. So we're working on all the preliminary stuff right now, and that will launch sometime in January. We're also doing a lot of national advertising in the publications around site selection. Economic development is an elimination business. It's 95% driven by site consultants that work out for corporate America, and they help companies decide the safest and least expensive place to locate a facility like a big factory. And so we target those publications that those consultants look at, and we also target industry publications as well. And we're doing a lot of email marketing as well about our sites in the community. We launched our new website about 6 months ago. Over that time, we have populated it with tons of information. We've got it linked to the city website. I would recommend that you go there and check it out. It's got information on the workforce, on our sites and buildings, on the community, really every aspect of our community. And we're really proud of it. I think it's turned out really great. And all this advertising is going to drive people back to that website over the next few years. I'm going to show you this quick video. This is going to show you our last 8th grade job expo. Probably of all the things we do, this is one of the most impactful and one of the most important things that we've done. Really in this country and in the state, we kind of walked away. Every parent became convinced their child had to go to college and get a 4-year degree. So we're seeing a huge shortage in all kinds of vocational skill sets. Ask Joe. Construction skill sets, electricians, maintenance people, people that can work in factories. And so we really put that on steroids. We're starting kids now in the 8th grade. And if you can start them in the 8th grade under the new Ford curriculum that they're developing for our communities, you'll be able to graduate from high school with all the credentials needed to go to work in either the battery or the assembly plant with no debt. And so this is just a little showcase of the last expo that we did. I may have to go in there and start the video.
This expo is a pathway to prosperity, and it encompasses all the 8th graders in the entire region on a curricular path, and along with the parents being involved. It's very interactive.
I don't think it's going to work, Mayor, but just like you said, We did one in 2020, we had to skip in 2021 because of the pandemic. We did our last one March 2nd and 3rd. We had 10 counties represented in rural West Tennessee. We saw close to 3,200 eighth graders over a 2-day period. And Memphis just did one, I think they had 6,000 or 7,000 kids from the county go through that one. So if we can start kids a lot earlier, then we can really, get them a quality job. I think I would predict that going forward, an electrician or a really skilled welder or a maintenance person is going to make more than a lawyer and a lot of credentialed people with even advanced degrees. So it's really the type of career, and it's really not the kids that are turned off to these type of careers. It's still the parents saying that every kid has to go to college. So if you have questions about, the type of career your kid could have in some of these skill sets, just let us know and we'll share that with you. In that same vein, we've gotten this great thing called Blue Oval City, but we've got all these other industries that we've been dancing with for a long time, and we've got to take care of them. Ford is going to be fine. They're going to pay well. They're going to get the workers they need, but we've got to protect all of our existing companies. So what we're going to do, in conjunction with 7 other counties, and HTL is leading this, we're going to do a super granular, in-depth study of the current employee work base in the region for 8 counties. It's going to tell us everything we need to know about their wages, their benefits, their amenities, everything that the companies in the region are doing. And we're going to do enough companies to get a statistically accurate data set on wages. And I can tell you that since 2020, wages have gone up every quarter. It's really hard for a company to depend on data that's 2 and 3 years old from the census and from the Labor Bureau. And so we're going to do this. Hopefully we're going to let the contract, we're getting ready to put this draft RFP out to bid after the first of the year. And hopefully we'll have this wrapped up in 4 or 5 months. But companies like Technor and Westlake will be able to take this and see what a maintenance person's making in Memphis and Jackson. And they'll know what they need to pay. They'll know what type of benefits and insurance and vacation and time off and flexible scheduling they're doing. So we think it's going to be a really important thing for our existing industries to get ready for this wave of employment that's getting ready to happen in the region. I wanted to talk about this. There's so much going on at the mega site. We've got our sites here in Brownsville. We've got the Haywood County Park, which is an incredible piece of property out behind Lasco and Westlake. We've got, behind Technor and Westlake. We've got the I-40 Advantage Park, which we just finished a grading project back at probably about 3 months ago. We did a grading of the front 130 acres of that to get it more pad ready. And so we're also seeing a new substation built right now. If you drive out by there, you'll see the new pad that's going up for the new substation that will be in by October. And that's going to give us a much more robust situation, over 30 megawatts of power that will be available for that whole part of town down there. And then just to talk about what's going on at the local city. Surely, hopefully all of you have had a chance to drive by and see, but this is a project on steroids. I've never seen a company done this many, many years move as quickly as they're moving. They've got steel almost out of the ground for the assembly and battery plants. And then all this stuff is going on too. This is all the infrastructure that's being installed right now, getting ready to be installed at the mega site. So the purple is TVA Power, and up here it's Southwest Tennessee Power. But they're going to be coming about 5 miles down to the 500 kV distribution lines and another 2 or 3 miles or 4 miles down to the 161 kV lines. You're seeing the big towers about 3 or 4 miles down from the mega site toward Brownsville that are going up right now. That's going to go on for 8 or 9 miles. So that's a significant project. TVA is building a 50-acre substation right here across from the fire station, the largest substation in the entire TVA network. And they're going to bring in really a large amount of power for this project. You've got the gas that's coming in from A&R Pipeline from Fayette County and from Texas Gas. You've got the wastewater plant that will be built. The 36-mile pipeline is almost finished. It's well under construction. You've got a new water treatment plant that's getting ready to be constructed. You've got 3 deep wells into the aquifer that are going to be built. And then we've got the current existing water tower. And then I think they're well along the process of the new road infrastructure for this project, a new interchange at 39, upgrade of the current interchange, this will be the second upgrade at 42, a new divided highway up to a 4-lane divided highway to another interchange in Haywood County, and then a divided highway over to 222. That'll happen by hopefully first quarter of 25. And and then connect the roads 2 lanes, the 70 and the 59, by the end of 2026. So if you take that, in addition to the construction workers that are going to be continuing to build the buildings, and you take the installation, the equipment installers that are going to be on site, and all these people, there are literally going to be probably over 10,000 people on certain days out there, probably between now and the end of next year. So it's going to be a mad rush to get all these things completed. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea of all the stuff that's already happening or is getting ready to happen around the mega site. They are well under construction. They were supposed to have an event last Friday. They were going to have a place where you could go up really high and see the site, but the rain had stopped that event. But they're well under construction with this. This is going to be the largest battery and assembly campus in the whole country. They're going to start out with around 10 million square feet of industrial space, which is, if you look at Nissan today, after 40 years, it's about 6.4 million feet. So what they're doing out there is really building a brand new city just a few miles away from Brownsville. The greatest thing for us, and if we're successful with this, and I really believe we will be, if we come out of this 5 or 6 years from now and are successful, we'll have the most advanced manufacturing workforce in the world. Ford has come in, they're creating this curriculum. They are working, Haywood, Tipton, and Lauderdale counties have been adopted by Ford, the school systems. They're getting ready to launch Haywood, HTL University, actually. They are putting significant money in buying things and labs and equipment for our school systems. And so they're really serious. Probably SK and Ford have about 10 or 12 people on the ground every day working on nothing but this. And so we're going to come out of this really in good shape as far as our training and our workforce that we have in this region to recruit even more industry, hopefully in the future. And then we've got the new TCAT that will start construction pretty soon, that will embed the processes from Ford and SK into the center, and they'll hopefully train thousands of people a year. And the Haywood, Tipton, and Lauderdale County school systems have already come together to talk about even transportation back and forth between the TCATs and the various school labs that are going to be built to train everybody in every area. So it might be mechatronics here, it might be something else over here, but they're really collaborating to make this thing successful. So I'll stop with that. It's been a very active, we're seeing a lot of activity for our industrial sites, and I do think Ford has still not selected their vendors. Once that happens, we're going to have 2 of the most attractive sites in the region.
Thank you, Mark. Let's give him a hand. Couple things that, during the landing the Ford deal, the workforce audit, when we hired Mark at HTL, we're lucky to get him. Thank you for your service. And we did lock him in for a contract, but we have him for a couple more years, so he'll be with us. But we were able to do a workforce audit that landed the deal. People kept saying, you don't have the workforce to support this site. You don't have the workforce. They kept saying it. We didn't look at the transportation and commuting patterns that were available. Once we did that work and did an industry-specific deep dive on automotive energy, it's what closed the deal, in my opinion. And that's what we have to deliver on. We have a 300-acre I-40 Advantage Park, and we're looking through the PEP program to look to purchase more acres so that we can expand our industrial capacity. When we start talking about the things we'll talk about at tonight's meeting, the return on investment that we're going to see in this community has to be carefully planned and strategically thought out. But all these pieces work together. So thank you, Mark, for being a point person. HTL is a brainchild of Mayor Franklin Smith, Mayor Webb Banks, and those predecessors that came before me that put this into place so that we can have it. And Mayor Huffman, been very instrumental in the Mega Site Authority. A lot of hours, a lot of time goes on behind the scenes that you don't see to get us to the point we are. Thank you for your work, and you should be very proud that we have Mark and HTL managed.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Any questions?
You'll be around for a little bit.
Yes.
You got to leave.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All this works together, all in one accord. Okay. Next on our agenda for the evening is our appointment. We have Brownsville Energy Authority appointment for the Energy Authority. As we said before, the Brownsville Energy Authority stepped forward with a new substation, looking to expand our wastewater treatment from 1 million gallons a day to 2 million gallons a day on a sequential batch reservoir system, which can be expanded up to 4 million gallons per day. So forward thinking, getting a state revolving loan fund, the Brownsville Energy Authority came through when they needed to the most to provide us with sewer, something that a lot of other capacities we see that are limited in other communities, but here we have that advantage and we'll move forward. So I received a recommendation tonight from Mr. Russ Stoops, that we reappoint Ms. Carolyn Flagg to the Board of Directors for the Brownsville Energy Authority for a term that ends December 31st, 2026. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, performance passes. Resolution number 1028, plan of service. We, of course, in our last board meeting, we had a couple resolutions, and we hadn't had an annexation in quite some time, so we wanted to make sure we had it right. But we did have a work session, so we could ask questions for the Board of Aldermen about our plan of services. So what we have presented for you tonight is a resolution 1028 for a plan of services. Once we do an annexation process for a particular tract of property, we are then responsible after within a 5-year period to provide police protection, fire protection, water service, sanitary sewer service, natural gas, electric service, solid waste, road and street repair, recreation facilities and programming, street lighting, planning, zones and services, schools, animal control, and miscellaneous. So this is a cooperative agreement between the city, Brownsville Energy Authority, the developers, that they come forward to see that we make sure we provide quality of life for our community and for those that will be moving into our community. These have been warranted to the water service. The electric service has qualitative analysis of denoted here in this resolution, and this should be subsequent to sewer main under sanitary sewer service. Construction and dedication shall be provided by the developers of the annexation area in accordance with the municipal subdivision. All these things will be deeded as warranted. We're not going to run a pipe anywhere, but I'm committed from my office as well as Brownsville all authorities to make sure we work together with the developers to make sure we get what you need where you need it. There's opportunity for grants, there's opportunity for creative financing. So we'll move forward, but this is step number one. Step number one, we're going to make sure we annex in the property, and then we talk about, then we go forward with a plan of services. So all these things work conjunctively together. So the way the order is, the agenda is tonight, you have resolution number 1028 that was taken on our last meeting for a plan of services. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1028.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve plan of services for city map parcel 087 owned by Matthew Simmons on Anderson Avenue.
So moved. Do I hear a second? It's been moved and proper second. Are there any questions or concerns from the audience? Okay. Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Plan of services approved. We did resolution number 1029, which will require a public hearing. And now, in most of our, well, in all of our ordinances or laws, they require 2 readings. Resolution requires 1 reading. Ordinances have a public hearing. This particular resolution has a public hearing. This is the process is new to us, but set by the TCA code, we are in order. At this time, we're looking at a resolution to annex a certain territorial property described as the tax parcel 01800 owned by Matthew Simmons to be annexed into the city of Brownsville. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion that we approve resolution number 1029. Been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. At this time, before we call for the vote, I'd like to close out our session and go to a public hearing. At this time, is there anyone in the audience or anyone has any questions concerning resolution number 1028, the annexation of the Matthew Simmons property? Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none, we'll close out our public session, go back into our session. We do have a proper motion and second on the table. At this time, we call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Annexation approved. All right. The next thing we have on our agenda tonight is a vehicle purchase. Okay, one thing that has to be planned tonight. We have a vehicle purchase. It's an emergency purchase use. We were able to sell some surplus property, some older vehicles, and we have the funds to come forward to make sure we purchase this vehicle. It's similar to the other vehicles we purchased in our last board meeting that were in the budget. This particular purchase was not in the budget, so therefore it's required in Resolution 1031. The money is $30,800. 2021 Chevrolet 1500 pickup, just like the ones we purchased before. I think it has 17,000 miles on it. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1031. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion. Do I hear a second? Been moved properly second. Any questions, concerns?
Hey,
Yes, sir.
hey, Mayor, so we approved the purchase of 3 vehicles
Correct.
last month. And what's this vehicle gonna be used for?
It'll be used in public, I'm sorry, it'll be used in public works, solid waste, whatever they need for the purchase. We did know we had 2 or 3, maybe 3 vehicles that were in total disrepair, beyond repair. But those 3 trucks we purchased last time were in the budget. But this became available. We had revenue from the surplus sale of older equipment, that's where the money will come from to purchase this vehicle. It'll be used in public works. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. 1031 passes, vehicle purchase. All right, resolution number 1032. This is another resolution that we have considered in our work session. We talked about the plan, we talked about the future, the potential of generating revenue for our community. But this is step one. This is step one. This is phase 2 of the LRK funding, funding for the development. It's growth management. How do we grow? Where do we grow? What do the design guidelines look like? Well, this will help take care of any planning details with a full firm behind it, as well as a planner. This will also take care of opportunity for future funding. It also has a capital position that will manage the growth, coordinate with the city, the county, STAMP, the Joint Economic Community Development, the Industrial Development Board, the planning boards for both communities, as well as our state legislators. So there's a huge chunk here of a lot of moving pieces, and I want to say thank you personally to Joe Barton for getting out there and making sure we got out the gate. It's become vitally important that we get out the gate. This is phase 2 of that. I did attend the county's budget committee meeting where they unanimously approved half the funding. The total amount of funding is $630,000, $315,000 coming from the city of Brownsville, $315,000 coming from the county. They will go before full commission for a vote. And you would take pleasure in knowing when they ask me, what did I think or what did I say? I said, well, I just came to see what y'all want to do. Because it's always the other way around. They wait to see what we do. But this is something we do together, which we're going to have. We do realize that we're in a separate budget request. I see Mr. Fitzgerald here is on the market, which we would take up. But this, we want to take the big chunk first. We duly noted on your marketing request. But this is the request, the fund request to go forward with the phase 2. Will be a 12-month planning period, which will have complete planning services available to us, as well as growth management. We'll put out an RFP for consulting firms to take on the growth management, so to be very transparent. We will put a cap on that particular consulting contract of $100,000. At this time, I'd like to, Joe, is there anything you'd like to add?
You covered it well, Mayor.
All right. It's hard to do in 15 minutes, like you said. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1032. Do I hear a motion? Motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Are there any questions or concerns? Yes, sir.
And I think we've talked about this before. This is phase 2. I mean, how elaborate is this plan going to be, and how many phases, I mean, could we be potentially looking at down the road? What's the...
I was asked the same question by the county commission last night.
What's the end state?
You know, something like this can go on and on and on and on. One of the things that this particular plan does is it sets a vision in place and a set of principal guidelines. And what that's going to, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but what that's going to help us do is that will set objectives. Once those objectives are met, it's done. A lot of it's going to depend on the rate of growth that we see. I mean, we're all speculating to some degree. On average, I get a call every week to meet with some developer who wants to put up something. So it's happening. They're talking about it. If we get inundated, like I think we will, I think this particular phase will take care of us. But I'm not going to stand here and say, you know what, come 23, this time next year, I won't be asking again. But one of the things, you remember the ECD money that they said there was $5 million. Well, they have finally hired their firm, Gresham Smith, and what we suspect, we don't know this to be fact, we just think that they're gonna provide basically an à la carte menu. So if you want a, Parks and Rec study, you pick it off the menu. If you want a road study, you pick it off the menu. So what Jonathan and I are kind of thinking is that if that comes to fruition, we will be able to kind of couple what we're doing here with this phase 2 with something that the state's gonna provide and continue to build on that. But, Alderman Bishop, I'll tell you like I told Commissioner Jones, I can't say that there's not gonna be more. But we have to manage it, you know what I mean? We have to think about, is it worth it?
And I guess more down the road is probably a good problem to have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're having to, you know, if this thing goes off like we think it's gonna go off, I just, Economic Community Development Board, just wanna make sure, I mean, that all of this is done probably with the end state in mind. You know, and it may take us 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to get there. I just, you know, every year coming up with another phase of this.
One of the things I think that we'll grow into, this is what I guess I'm what I see happening. And this is what I think as local government, perhaps y'all should be considering, and that is that as utilizing the consulting firms begins to dwindle down, your staffing and local government is gonna need to start beefing up. So I don't think we're gonna be looking at big six-figure asks every single year, but what you are gonna be looking at is a land planner that's gonna be a permanent staff member, probably an assistant, probably a GIS person, probably at least 2 more code officials. That's 5. I mean, so I would really advise to start thinking about how you're gonna budget those operational costs. Now, Joint ECD Board has, in that spreadsheet that I gave y'all, we have got some expansion on government services. What I would see in the, not long term, but let's say midterm, is local government growing into meeting those demands and the consulting part not being as much of a part anymore, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. And realizing that we gotta have consultants, you know, to take us from where we are right now to where we can manage this thing and to get us a good plan in place. And I think that separates us, or could potentially separate us from other communities in this region right here. So I'm for that. I was just trying to get a little outlook.
Sure.
You know, you guys are the ones that have done, I mean, tremendous work to put all this together and to get us looking at the right things. So I just didn't know if y'all had some discussion about other factors.
I will say, and what I'd like to do is keep this body as well as the county kind of up to date with where we're going, because there are other parts that the Joint ECD is going to be doing besides just the land use planning. We're going to continue to look at the quality of life thing, which is, we're hoping we're going to pick that amount of money, that study, because we do need to get a Parks and Rec updated study. But I want to keep y'all abreast about every quarter, so that we kind of are looking at, are our projections on that spreadsheet in terms of income and expenditure, are they matching up? So that we'll know well ahead of time whether or not we need to pack up or whether or not we need to do the gas.
And maybe potentially for future pieces of this study, we could look at ECD and look at grants and look at different things. I just want to make sure our study, we're not paying for the same thing ECD's paying for, and that we're somewhat nested, you know, in the whole state piece, you know, the outcomes, I guess, but obviously we have a responsibility to the city of Brownsville.
Yeah, the goal is certainly to be a matching gear, not a polarized entity from the state. It's got to go together, because about as I hate to say it, we need them.
And I just got one last comment.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, when we get these studies, I mean, our city administration, city employees and city aldermen, I mean, we need to utilize what we pay for.
Absolutely.
And we need to make sure, you know, that the employees down to the lowest level necessary understand how this study says things ought to look, you know?
Right.
And not just go out there on their own and say, well, we've done it this way for, we're not doing it the same way. Yeah, okay.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's marketing, you said, is the marketing included in this bid?
No, it's not. It was a separate request, from the marketing committee from Joyce. Yeah. And it was the different amounts, I think it was 35 from the county, 25 from the city. But y'all would still continue to operate, but you would let us know down, the 3-star grant was gonna do it and continue, yeah, okay. All right, are there any other questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay. Let's do a roll call vote. Alderman Bishop. Alderman Pugh. Alderwoman Clegg. Okay, and Alderman Taylor. Okay. All right. Funding passes. Also, I want to make a good point, Alderman Bishop. Now, I will say this, the expenditures that went down with Joint CB, they went to Chief Smith. They went to Chief Debo. They went to the department, the EMS. They didn't pull the numbers out there. So what are you going to need to operate if we double the number of households? This is going to be based on growth projection. How many people move here, how quickly they move here, when they move here, will ramp up the public service and public safety that we need to have, as well as planning. So it's all phased in, and it will be the speed at which we operate will be based on the population at which we grow, to include the hospital, the school system. Right now, how many firefighters you need, Chief? 3. How many police officers you need?
Probably about 20. Realistically, right now, 10 would be good.
So this conversation is being had on every level, and it takes a lot of communication, a lot of projections, and there's an X factor there, and that's the population growth. When finished, the exponential growth of this community at West Tennessee is 25,000 jobs in West Tennessee, 25,000, and then we're gonna need more of everything that we have, including police officers, public safety, and planning. So we are ahead of the game. We do need to stay DCD, but we're a year ahead of them. They're just now coming out with their plan, and we're already ready for the phase 2. Thank you for your support, and thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jonathan and Marsh. All right. The next thing we have on our agenda for tonight is ordinance number 994. This is the ordinance on the second reading, which will require a public hearing. This ordinance is to amend the purchase limits from $10,000 base to $25,000 with the accompaniment of 3 bids. I know there was a question we had in our last meeting. This does include purchasing. Some of the wording may be maybe a little gray for you, but it's there. I had our attorney double check it's there, along with his bachelor. So this ordinance, we just encourage to have 3 quotes, and it just raises the bid limit and purchase limit from $10,000 to $25,000 with the blessing of the state. At this time, on the second reading, I'd like to close out session and go into a public hearing. At this time, are there any questions or concerns from the community on the second reading of ordinance number 994? Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none, we'll close out our public session and go back into our session. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 994 on the second reading. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Do I hear a second? Second. Are there any questions, concerns, from all? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. 994 passed on the second reading. 995, this is the property rezoning on the second reading. This is the second reading. We did take this up at our last meeting on November the 8th. This is for the annexation property we annexed into Matthew Simmons' property to be zoned R1, which is low density. And at this time, we'll close out our session, go into a public hearing, and see if there are any questions or concerns from the community. At this time, we're now in a public hearing. Are there any questions concerning the official rezoning of this property with a recommendation from the Planning Commission to R1, low density? Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none from the public, we'll go back in our session. This is time I'd like to entertain a motion on ordinance number 995 on the second reading to receive a positive affirmation. Do I hear a motion? Motion. Do I hear a second? Second. Are there any questions or concerns from the audience? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. Ordinance number 996, this is the Hickory Trail. This is on our second reading of ordinance number 996. This is basically rezone, I think it's in your district, Alderman Bishop. We discussed this too, and I think in our work session, that will go from R1 low density townhouse, RTH, as it to be in conjunction with already there. I think it should be a city positive recommendation from the planning commission, and it would pass on the first reading. So at this time, I'm gonna close out our session, go into our public hearing, and see if there are any questions, concerns on ordinance number 996, rezoning from low density to RTH. Are there any questions or concerns from the committee? Okay, hearing none, we'll close out and go back to our session. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 996 on the second reading. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 996.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Been moved and properly second. Are there any questions, concerns from all? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. Pass the second reading. Ordinance number 997. This is also on the second reading. It was approved and passed with a favorable recommendation from the planning commission. This is an ordinance to amend chapter 4, provision for commercial districts. Okay? The general commercial district provisions, letter B, number 3, conditional use must be amended. The conditional use is for communication towers, that they be limited to satellite dishes provided the following conditions are met. In addition, vegetative screening is provided. A location for satellite dish is not seen from a public street. These are the two conditions to amend this particular ordinance. It did receive a favorable recommendation from the planning commission and did pass our city council on the first reading. At this time, I'd like to close out our session, going to a public hearing on ordinance number 997. Are there any questions or comments from the community concerning 997? Okay, thank you. That means the planning commission did a good job. All right, at this time, I'd like to call for our vote. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion on ordinance number 997. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion, do I hear a second? Been moved and properly second. Are there any questions, concerns from the audience? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. Ordinance number 997 passed on the second reading. All right, now we move into some fun stuff. We have a roadblock permit for Christmas caroling event on 12/15/2022. This will be in the Jefferson Street corridor. I do have a request here for the roadblock permit to volunteer Christmas caroling. I've heard from Mr. Fred Silverstein, start time 5, end at 10. I don't think it's that late, but those are the parameters. The certificate of liability insurance has been properly presented. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the roadblock permit for the Christmas carol. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second? It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions, concerns from all? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. Roadblock complete. All right. Now, Ms. Crystal Mathis, if we could talk to, hear from you about our grant report and our community development.
Are there any questions regarding the community development report? I just have one update since I sent that out on the CDBG. Construction has started and they're aiming closeout in time for the city to be eligible for the 2023 round. And as you can also see, the multimodal grant, that is how the project phase is going to continue. So once that starts, they're going to send me out monthly updates from H2H.
Okay. Any questions, concerns? No? And now you see your grant report here, reimbursement schedule, provided Ms. Matthews, and of course there's announcements about the community events in your packet. At this time, we'll move on to our financial management report. Ms. Sherry Baxter.
Okay, any questions concerning the finances for the month of November? So far today, we've spent 39% of our budget from the general fund. And for the month of November, we received $1,041,105 for the month of November for revenue.
Okay.
Hey, Ms. Baxter, where are we on taxes? Last year we collected it.
Current taxes on the first line of the revenue page, we received to date $2,527,193.69. For the month of November, we received $549,131.34. So, our taxes we're about 71% of receiving all our taxes.
If there are no other questions or concerns, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the financial manager's report. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second? If we move to proper second, any questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Also, Ms. Bass, you have some budget review.
I'm sorry. I need to add a couple of things to the budget. And most of these items have already been approved by the board. These are the grants that we've gotten here lately. A total of $343,000 from the different grants from the fire department, police department, tourism, and the daycare. So that's going to be a $343,000, $407.35 that we will be adding to the budget. We are also going to do a budget amendment for the money for LRP, $350,000 to come out of fund balance. Our current fund balance is $5,074,000. After this reduction, it'll take us down to $4,724,635.58. And as well as in the capital development fund, we're moving $800,000 from our fund balance and the capital development fund because we did not budget for anything in that when we were doing the original budget.
So this is the housekeeping to move money where it needs to be. Like I said, we still, the city of Brownsville maintains no debt, and after this budget amendment is approved, our fund balance will be $4,724,000. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Do I hear a second? Been moved and properly second. Any questions, concerns from all? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Thank you, Ms. Basher. All right, the next thing on our agenda, all right, is the mayor's report. A couple things that I definitely want to point out. Thank you all. First of all, let me say thank you all for the work that's done by the people and the citizens and the people who work for the city of Brownsville. We could not receive or be in a position to do the things we do without the work of everybody. So I truly, sincerely say thank you. Happy holidays, everybody. Please stay safe, be careful. Flu is still relevant, COVID is still relevant, but we do this together. Honoring Senator Paige Waller at the Carl Perkins Center, he was presented an award for his legislative childhood advocacy from the Carl Perkins Center. So working for our children and advocating for their quality of life is something that we always have to do. And I was able to talk to the United Way today about some things to move in that direction. We had a community health event at the Hayward Park Hospital, well, the Hayward County Community Hospital, which looks beautiful. You haven't had a chance to see it. The floors are shining, they're clean, the people are excited. If you see me in the top right corner, I'm actually getting a cardiogram with using my fingers. And all the latest and greatest technology is available to us to get screenings, to be proactive in our health. A Healthy Moves Initiative is a primary prevention initiative so that we can take the strain from the hospital or the ambulance authority. So thank you to Braden Health Group, to Michael Banks and the entire staff, the Eagles Nest, for helping putting all the physical health on the table, for mental health. Our mental health definitely has an effect on our physical being. You can see it in the wear and tear, even during COVID on our children in our community. So this was a well-attended event on a Saturday morning inside the hospital. Thank you to Judge Jenny Scott at CASA for advocating for our children again. She did a cornhole tournament. It was cold at night. They had great gumbo. They had heat lamps. and there was a large participation. They raised quite a bit of money. Do you remember, Attorney Banks, how much was it? Oh, $30,000 in one night. Let's give them a round of applause. $30,000 in one night from our community for our children. So thank you. She's doing a bang-up job out there with the General Sessions Court that's advocating for juveniles and our most precious gift, our children. I had opportunity to, for lunch, and I thought it was way too far to drive. I didn't want to go, but I sucked it up and I drove to the governor's rural opportunity summit. I can't say enough about the good close-knit relationship. It was invitation only. It was only so many people in the room. Of course, Brooksy Carlton's there. She's always been advocating for what we do. Several new commissioners. They have a new commissioner of the Department of Children's Services. You have a new commissioner of ECD. You have some people that have changed chairs. And I got a chance to talk to these people about what they're advocating for and what it means. Also presented at this conference was the optional role plan from TDOT. In this plan, not a toll road, but an optional road. You want to pay to utilize this road to bypass high traffic areas, which there was some heat infrared maps put up. You have that option. It will be built by the private sector, maintained by the private sector, and used by the public. If you want to stay on the highway, on our state routes, we'll continue to have a pay-as-we-go system. But this is an alternative that was presented at this summit, and it was going to come into major play in our communities. We look at 25,000 jobs in our community. So I thank you to the new commissioners. I thank you for the work they're doing. We have a new commissioner of workforce and labor. She's on fire. She's ready to go, and everybody was very interactive. And they had a listening ear this particular summit. It was quick, fast, but it was inclusive about rural opportunity for our at-risk and distressed counties. This is a monumental day. This is the one. This is the one. This is a lot of concern to go into this meeting. This is the Mega Site Authority meeting, the last one, where it was $213 million approved for our community. It's going to be over a 30-year period, and it's going to trickle in into year 11. But there's allocated funding for a regional wastewater treatment plant. Fayette County, because of the acreage, will receive some funding. And the city of Brownsville and Haywood County, through the Industrial Development Board, that's where your pilots come through, your payment in lieu of taxes, from Ford, will see $213 million moving down the road. So we start talking about adding those positions. That's one source of revenue. So I want to say thank you to Attorney Banks. He had the guts to put the motion on the floor and take whatever heat came from it. Because no good deed ever goes unpunished. So his phone started ringing me because they kind of got some money. But it's all part of it. We grow together. We grow together. This is the answer here. We say we're getting down the road on the how are we gonna pay for this stuff? You know, this money's gonna trickle in, but it gives us borrowing power. It gives us power to come through the Industrial Development Board. That takes the pressure off the city council to fund this and fund it. It takes the pressure off the budget committee to fund this. So if you get 2 police cars and a half a fire truck, all that's gonna come without request, based on a spreadsheet, through the Industrial Development Board. The plan has been laid in place and the funding has been long-term. We still have a funding gap. But this was instrumental. You see Mayor Taylor from Fayette County, our 2 mega site authorities, Mr. Duke and Mr. Banks, myself and Mayor Huffman, as I've deemed the Godfather of West Tennessee. He makes things happen. He got tennis shoes on, he's ready to go to work. Good group of people, but you can't understand how the magnitude of that moment sitting in that room. And it went through, everybody thought it was gonna be a 2-hour big one, but it was just a matter of protocol. So that was monumental in our future. And it answered some of the question marks that we had. We did, not forgetting about the community, we partnered with the Steve Harvey Morning Show, as we always do every year. We give away turkeys, we did gift cards for those in the community, for our nonprofit agencies, as well as those who just, we put it on the radio, those who just surprise some people by providing them a turkey or dinner for their families for Thanksgiving. So that's always very positive. It's a good day, putting smiles on people's faces and giving back to the community. All part of our marketing budget. The hospital tour, they would come out to the hospital as they ramping up for their temporary license to do a tour with a reporter and then be able to talk to the people and see the compliance that's being done. Our work session, I think, was very successful. It shows itself tonight because there were a limited amount of concerns because we did have to take the time to have a work session between our meetings. The lighting of the Christmas tree and the Christmas parade was outstanding. The City of Brownsville in second place. A little concerns about that, but we did make a great showing. How many floats were in the parade, Sonia?
There were over 45 entries. I don't have the breakdown of how many.
Yeah.
I think there were like 12 or 15 floats.
Yeah, 12, 15. It was by far, quality-wise, one of the best parades I've seen in a long time. And somebody sitting to my right over here years ago said that we didn't need a car show, we need a parade. Thank you, Ms. Flagg, for doing what you do. It's still showing itself to be fruitful for our community. So thank you for all the participants, the rescue squad, Sonia, your Christmas parade, for everything that you do. It's all about community. We continue to think about high level. Keep saying we got to elevate our conversation. We have to elevate our vision. But we can't forget about the least of our community, our children, those who are vulnerable populations. So in that vein, I'm a member of the United Way. So I've been talking to United Way about the programs that they offer. We are in the process of hiring a grant writer at United Way to bring more services. And we want to have a financial empowerment center. I've allocated and asked them to say, we need a financial empowerment center. How do people get financial literacy? How do people get pushed at home? How do they get their credit score in order? We don't have the capacity within City Hall to do that, but the need is still here in our city. So we're going to turn to the United Way. They have an Office of Childhood Success, and it's going to start with third grade literacy, reading on grade level, eighth grade, career tracks, pathways to prosperity that we talked about earlier through HTL. And then we talked about dual enrollment. And, Alderman Pugh is a TCAT instructor. He's a TCAT instructor, so he's seeing our kids face to face. And the opportunities. I can't say enough about Ford, Andy Bianco, Liliana Ramirez, Keith. Those people they are dedicated. Reverend James Farmer, you don't see the work. I see what they're doing. They're pushing. So it's just up to us to walk through this door of opportunity. But the pathways and the doors are being opened daily. We do need more police officers. We need more firefighters. We need more planners. We need more marketing. We need more of everything. But your investment into our future will pay dividends like we've never, ever seen before. So I'm optimistic. I'm happy. Some days I'm tired and frustrated. But I know that with prayer and together we will do this. We have a unity mic. We have a unity mic. That's symbolic. No other city in the United States has this, but we have it here in Brownsville today. Just showing the possibilities available. No one else has Blue Oval City in their back door, showing the possibilities. No one has the quality of people that we have. I know who you are. I'm one of them. We'll do this together. So I thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your support and your continued prayers. Merry Christmas, everybody. And then we'll go to all the support. Alderman Bishop.
Merry Christmas for sure. Yeah, I think all of the mic is, Sonia, thank you for you being involved with that. I listened to the song today, Imagine, by Paul McCartney, and there's a lot to be said for that. And as somebody said, it's still so relevant today. We always got a dream, like Martin Luther King, Imagine, like John Lennon, innovate. There's certain things that we got to do, and we got to open those doors, as the mayor said. So I'm very, very pleased and very exciting times that we're having in Brownsville. I think I say that, and it's not much of a report, but I just want to reflect, because everybody all across the state asks, well, what's going on? How's everything going? And I'm telling you, you can see it. You can see the change. You can see it on people's faces. I think people see opportunity that they hadn't seen before. And we're going to continue to try to make that opportunity become reality. And I think we got to work really hard to do that. We got some gaps. We got some gaps that we got to fill. We got to be smart on how we do it. And I think we're in a better position today to get that done than we've been in quite some time. So.
Amen. Amen. Alderman Pugh.
Just one thing, we just had our November neighborhood watch community meeting that was successful. Our chief, he came around and gave out the information to all our senior citizens to have a safe Thanksgiving and everything was safe in the neighborhood. On East College and Board Avenue, we've been having a lot of accidents coming off there. They didn't, sorry I didn't get in touch with you about that, but I just need to know which part of it belongs to the railroad, which part of it belongs to the city. They're kind of like this, they're just smearing out, you can see the white line, but they just have to smear off until that little dip. So, as an report, I had like I recorded 3 accidents on that. 2 in the same night, 1 the next day, in the daytime. So, I just want to look forward to that. Wish everybody have a Merry Christmas and a very safe holiday.
Thank you, Alderman Pugh. That came up in our staff meeting, so it's on our radar. Thank you. Alderman Taylor?
I have none this time.
Okay. Vice Mayor Flag?
Good evening. Good evening. Commissioner, if someone else asks you what we doing in Brownsville, tell them we have a committee meeting. I have a particular report. 2 days ago, for number $1,070.36. Newtown unemployment rate for October was 5.0. Beginning in December 1, the average residential electric bill decreased approximately 8.95% due to the fuel cost adjustment. Beginning in December 1, there was an increase to our purchase gas adjustment by 0.25 due to the increase of natural gas. And it's going out slow for 23, coming strong in 23. I have not had any meetings this year because of COVID, but I will do better next year for my board too. So I wish you to you all a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, we have some people here from One Safe Place. You can just stand up, come on up here so we can see you. It's Christmas time, come on up. Let's come right up here so we can make sure we get you on the recording, documented, come on. All right. These are some of our administrators from One Safe Place who can introduce our new employee and tell us kind of what's happening there.
Good evening, my name is Katie Cowan. I'm the director of One Safe Place. I have just moved into that position from being a navigator. The navigator is just a fancy word for who does direct client services. We serve victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, elder abuse, and human trafficking. We have seen quite a transitional year, but as I said, I'm now the director, and this is my wonderful new navigator, Ms. Kayla Watkins. She has been absolutely wonderful. I'm so grateful to have her. She's been wonderful for the victims, and that's really what matters. If she didn't get along with none of us, but she was good with my victims, I'd be okay with that. But thankfully, it's both. So.
Okay, well, welcome. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for being part of it. Is there anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm just excited to serve the Haywood County community and the city of Brownsville.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Chief Evans, I received a memo today, some really good news from the National Law Enforcement Office Memorial that Corporal Daniel Todd Wallace, in the watch 8/25/2021 of the Brownsville Police Department, has been approved for inclusion of the National Law Enforcement Office Memorial, Washington, D.C. His name will be formally dedicated on May 13, 2023 at the 35th Annual Candlelight Vigil during National Police Week. Did you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I do want to say that outside of Chief Debo doing grants, and we know Debo is the grant minister, this will be an insert in the newspaper this week that will be going for Daniel Wallace. It took them probably about 15 months to get this approved, which means more benefits for his kids. His name will go on the wall in Washington, D.C. I believe it's May the 13th. And it's a big honor. It was a lot of hard work, and I have to offer Chief Debo taking care of this matter.
Thank you for your service. Thank you, an honor, Corporal Wallace. Are there any other department reports? I think that's all my notes have for this evening. Thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate you. Did I miss anybody in this basket? Okay. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for all you do. Please stay safe. Have a great holidays. If you need us, just call us. We'll be here. It's your go Tomcat. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to be adjourned. So moved, right here, second. All in favor, get up, go home.